Now, it's my pleasure to introduce Professor Peter Singer, the celebrated philosopher, professor, and best-selling author of more than 20 acclaimed books. Please welcome Professor Singer to the stage.
Thank you for that warm welcome. Thank you, Tyler, for the introduction. It's really terrific. I want to thank, as he did, everybody who's been involved in putting together this wonderful event. And I'm really happy to be speaking here to not only talk to you about effective altruism, not only to promote the organizations that are involved, PSI, and if you're in DC and you're interested in this, to get involved with giving what we can at DC, but also to put forward some arguments in the hope that, as Tyler just said, you too will think about the way you're living and whether there are things that you could do better. Okay, I've now mentioned effective altruism, and I should say a little bit about what that term means. It's obviously got two parts. The altruism, you'll understand easily, it's live your life to make the world a better place. Now, that doesn't mean that every waking moment you have to be making the world a better place. Effective altruists are not all saints. They don't claim to be saints. But they do say, a significant part of my life, I want to try to make the world a better place. That's something that's important to me, that I find is one of my aims, that is also part of what gives me fulfillment and satisfaction in my own life. So that's the altruism part. Effective is just like what I said a few moments ago. Make sure that when you do that, whatever resources, if it's the percentage of his income that Tyler has pledged to donate to charities or whatever else it is, maybe you don't have much money but you have time, resources, skills, that sort, make it as effective as possible. Don't just try to make the world a better place, in fact. Try to do the most good you can, to make the biggest possible positive difference to the world that you can with the resources that you're prepared to put into that. Here's a webpage from Rockefeller Philanthropy Advisors, one of the biggest philanthropy advisors in the world. And they say one thing on this page that is absolutely right. Giving away money is simple. Giving away money effectively is an entirely different matter. So that, when I came to that, I thought, great, they're on the right track. And then I looked more deeply into a PDF they have there called Finding Your Focus in Philanthropy, and it has this remark. What is the most urgent issue? There's obviously no objective answer to that question. Is that obvious? I don't even think it's true, let alone obvious. I think at least, sometimes it's very difficult to differentiate somewhat different causes. Climate change and global poverty are both huge and important causes, I believe. And of course they're related, because climate change is going to hit the poor most heavily. But some causes are just obviously, I think, not as important as, say, global poverty. Did you read earlier this year that David Geffen, the entertainment mogul behind DreamWorks and various other entertainment ventures, gave $100 million to renovate what used to be Avery Fisher Concert Hall. Have you ever been to a concert in Avery Fisher Concert Hall in the Lincoln Center in New York? Sorry, you've been to the last concert you'll go to at Avery Fisher Concert Hall. Next time it'll be David Geffen Concert Hall. But apart from the naming issue, is it really that important that when you go to this concerts there, it's the best renovated concert hall? This is only going to be, the Lincoln Center says, actually 1/5 of the total cost. They've got another $400 million to raise to renovate the concert hall. I just think if you think of that amount of money and what it could do to prevent people becoming blind, to save the lives of very large number of children, of hundreds of thousands of children at least, that seems to me to be more important, to help millions of families to get a chance to get out of extreme poverty. Those things I think, trump the idea of having a better renovated concert hall. So I do think we ought to be thinking much more about effectiveness and about where we get the biggest bang for our buck. We do that in our consumer spending all the time, and it's rather strange to me that when we donate, we typically don't even ask that question. 70% of Americans who donate to charity do zero research on the charity they're donating to. Zero. And the other 30% mostly do very, very shallow research. So I now want to look at this question about how we can measure effectiveness. So until very recently, again, until really about the time the effective altruism movement got going, the only information that you could easily find online about charities was the percentage of their revenue that went for administration rather than to programs. And so people used that figure as their guide. The 30% who did some research basically found that figure and used it to donate to the charity with the lowest administrative costs. Is that a sound policy? Well, in very extreme cases it is, perhaps because 60, 80% are going to administration. That's not a good charity. But the difference between 25% and 15 or 10% doesn't really tell you much, because if you cut administration back to the bare bones, you may not be able to choose the best programs. You may not be able to monitor and evaluate the best programs. So okay, 90 cents in every dollar is going to programs, but half the programs do no good at all, so only 45 cents in every dollar do any good. The other charity spends, let's say, 20% on administration, or it might even be a bit more, but it monitors its programs, so of that 80% that goes on programs, let's say 3/4 of that, 60%, does good. That's better than 45% doing good. So we need more evidence of effectiveness, and let me just briefly say, these guys made a big difference in making sure it happened. They left a hedge fund in order to found GiveWell. They took a big drop in salaries to do this. They founded this organization, GiveWell, that does in-depth research into charities, recommends a small number of charities, the ones that can demonstrably show how good they are, how effective they are. And they've set a new standard of rigor. If you're interested in animal charities, as some of you may be, Animal Charity Evaluators is a newer organization trying to do this, to evaluate charities that work to reduce animal suffering. And finally, the organization that I founded, The Life You Can Save, spun off the book I wrote with that title a few years ago, is also recommending, you can see the Where to Donate tab up the top there, is also recommending charities that I regard as among the top charities, and I'm supported by other people now in that organization doing research. So there is information, and I hope that you will come out of this thinking, firstly, I do want to do more to make the world a better place. Secondly, I'm going to do some research. I'm going to go to some of these websites, and I'm going to make sure that what I do, whether it's time or money, is the most effective thing I can do to make the world a better place. Thank you.